It's all kicking off at the moment, isn't it? Because there was a new leaked email. Tell me what's actually happened with Prince Andrew and Epstein.
Well, a few days ago, the Mail on Sunday ran a story that they'd actually found the longer part of a leaked email, which we knew about. This is a famous email from February 2011, where he talked about let's play a bit more. But actually what it showed, and this email actually came out the day after the Mail on Sunday had run a story with the Virginia Giuffre picture and his arms around him. But this had a little bit more detail, and it talked about how he and Epstein were in this problem together. They would sort of deal with it, and basically, they were very strong friends. And the embarrassment, of course, is that Andrew had been adamant in his Newsnight interview in November 2019 that he'd had no more contact with Epstein after December 2010. And this followed an email from 2 weeks ago in which Fergie was revealed to have publicly distanced herself from Epstein, but actually privately to have written to him as a dear friend, and again described herself as a victim. And so what both of them are saying in public and what clearly they're doing in private are very different things. So it kind of completely undermines their argument. For example, Andrew doesn't remember Virginia Giuffre, has no, this is all made up by Virginia Giuffre. And it kind of confirms what I'd found in the book. So I'd found, for example, that Fergie was staying with Epstein long after she claimed that she'd cut ties. So the doorman had her staying there in 2013, 2014, so 4 years later. And it sort of undermines their position that there they are championing, particularly Fergie, children's books, her reputation for charities dealing with trafficked women. And yet here she is, both of them friendly with a convicted paedophile that everyone else has cut links with. And they're quite happy to associate with because he's paying their bills. And again, Fergie had claimed that he'd only paid £15,000 to her. Well, the sum, as I say in my book, is more like £2 million.
Wow.
And she doesn't make it clear whether she repaid that money or not and what Epstein got in return for giving her this money. There must have been some sort of deal. But of course, this, drew the royal couple closer and closer into Epstein's web. And, Epstein was always using compromat. He was always blackmailing people. He was always using his powers over various, influential and powerful people to his own advantage and possibly to the advantage of some of the world's intelligence services. I mean, there's a lot of talk of his close links, for example, with Mossad. So, I mean, this is very embarrassing for the royal family, and it should be the final nail in the coffin of the Yorks. It shows just what blatant liars they are.
It's amazing what keeps coming out. It's just unbelievable. There's more and more and more. But you say that let's play a bit more. That was already out there on public record, was it?
Yes, it was.
Who said that?
That was what Andrew said to Epstein. And in the context, now that we see the wider email, this is clearly about enjoying, their times with young girls.
How does it work that we now see the wider email? I'm talking about journalism. So someone took a snippet of it years ago and now is releasing a wider bit?
Well, the first bit of the email came out as I think in a deposition in a court case with a man called Jess Slaley. And one of the things with the Yorks is they were deeply involved with Epstein with two particular banks, JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley. And there's a case here with a banker suing his bank for unfair dismissal or something. And this is some of the testimony that's emerging. Now, what's interesting is that we've had these selective leaks, very damaging to the royal family. Where are they coming from? The journalist who seems to have them is a woman called Daphne Barrack, who originally done an interview with Ghislaine Maxwell in prison, so she's very well connected. But, clearly there's a lot of material that could be leaked, and it's odd that each time it's something to do with the Yorks. We know from Ghislaine Maxwell's interview in prison with Trump's attorney that it was actually Fergie who kind of drew Epstein into Andrew's circle and vice versa. And she has no love lost for Fergie. So, could this stuff have come from the court case? Could it have come possibly from somehow Ghislaine or the Epstein estate having access to it? We just don't know. It's been shared by the Mail and on Sunday and The Sun, which is quite an interesting pairing. Though, of course, all the other papers have picked it up. And the result of this is, people are now saying, the monarchy is in a crisis, possibly as bad as since the abdication in 1936, and they really need to get a grip of the situation. That Andrew is actually damaging the whole of the monarchy itself.
Can I ask you a favour? Please subscribe. 90% of you are not subscribed, so if you sub, it will help the channel, and I'll keep making these clips.